Get right to Hartford now. Our Keith McGilvery is standing by with Senator Chris Murphy.
Hey, Keith.
Yeah, Tim. Yeah, good morning. First on Fox 61, Senator Chris Murphy. I appreciate your time this morning. We have covered a lot of ground as you're at Public Works talking about this storm. Want to get right into it. During Isaias, we saw hundreds of thousands of people without power. For many of them, it lasted more than a week. What are we doing to make sure that doesn't happen again?
So as soon as I leave here, I'm going straight to Eversource to get a briefing from the utility about how they've pre-positioned assets to address what could be a massive loss of power in the state. They've got to do better, and we've been working with them over the last year to make sure that they're ready so that we don't have people out of power for 4 or 5 or 6 days like we have in the past. Listen, if there is a massive power outage, even the most capable utility can't get all the power back on in 24, 48 hours. So people have to take their own steps to be able to get through the next few days. But given how isolated this storm is going to be on the Northeast states, there's no reason why the utilities can't bring in mutual aid crews from inland, from other parts of the United States, to be able to get this work started as soon as the power goes out.
We are a big state. Some areas are going to get hit harder than others. What is your message to folks along the shoreline? I know evacuation orders have been issued in some communities right now.
Yeah, we're in Hartford right now, but my primary message is for the shoreline. If you are in a town that is subject to an evacuation order, take it seriously. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who think that they have to stay in their house, ride out the storm. Don't take that chance. Even though this storm is being downgraded, the winds on the shoreline are still going to be very dangerous. The storm surge, especially this afternoon, can take people's lives. So pay attention to the evacuation orders, take shelter. The governor and I, the whole delegation, are going to be working sort of through the day to make sure that we get assets to help anybody that's in trouble, but we don't want to be engaged in a massive rescue effort if we don't have to.
I know right now you're actively pursuing an emergency declaration order almost preemptively ahead of this storm. What will that do, and how quickly could we see resources on the ground right here in Connecticut?
So states and localities are the primary responders, and the federal government reimburses the states so that the taxpayers aren't on the hook for the cost of the response. We have asked the federal government for a pre-disaster declaration so that we can get that money more quickly, but we're also working with FEMA to make sure that they're contributing to our efforts. So right now at Westover Air Force Base, just above the northern Connecticut line, we have generators, food, water pre-positioned. That's going to be coming into Connecticut later today if we need it to help in our response.
Speak to those folks at home who might not be taking the precautions that you've stressed. A lot of folks in my neighborhood, Frog Hollow and Hartford, don't have things like air conditioning if this power goes out. And at the same time, we don't always see people take advantage of cooling centers and other resources that are out there for the taking.
Yeah, I don't live far away from you in Hartford, and so everybody needs to know that there are places to go. In Hartford, we're going to have 2 shelters set up, the Arroyo Center and the Parker Center, one in the south end, one in the north end. But anywhere around the state, if you need shelter today, if you don't feel like you're safe, call 211. You can immediately be put in touch with a shelter that you can go to. Similarly, this heat wave's coming on the heels of this storm. If you are in an unsafe place, call 211. You can find a cooling center that you can get to. Especially the elderly need to be aware of this, and we all need to be knocking on the doors of our vulnerable neighbors today and throughout the rest of the week to make sure that they're okay.
Certainly appreciate your time this morning. Anything that you want to add that I didn't ask you about?
Listen, just take this seriously. I worry today that people are going to see the downgrade. Doesn't matter what the name of this is, a hurricane, a tropical storm, it still has a significant risk of loss of life and loss of property. So pay attention to the recommendations that have been made. If you have been told to get out of your house on the shoreline, do that. Do that now. Everybody else needs to do those small things, getting things out of their basement, making sure that their elderly neighbors are okay over the course of today. Everybody can play a role here.
Senator Chris Murphy, appreciate your time. Please join us throughout the day. We will be live all day long. If you have updates, we're happy to get those out to the public.
Great, thank you.
All right, so again, Tim and Erica, the senator, headed here to meet with folks from our utilities across Connecticut with a strong message that power needs to be taken care of as quickly as possible, something we will continue to follow throughout the day. But for now, live in Hartford, I'm Keith McGilvery, Fox 61 News.